Bitcoin has been crashing hard, making a lot of investors extremely fearful for its future. But I am looking at this as a crazy opportunity. So today we are going to take a look at one of my favorite income producing Bitcoin ETFs. Now, of course, you guys have heard of the name BTCI by NEOS before, and I will say this one is my favorite for a very solid reason, aside from the fact that I really do enjoy the NEOS funds. So if you're like me and you're looking to definitely capitalize on this drop in Bitcoin to get some cheaper shares, let me know by liking and subscribing to the video, and let's jump into this deep dive on BTCI. I was shocked when I opened up my phone. I was using my account for my crypto and I saw that Bitcoin was down almost 30%. Now, I don't check crypto often and I don't invest as heavily into crypto as I do into the stock market, but I will say that this is a crazy opportunity for those that are interested in buying BTCI at a cheaper price. Now, by no means is this financial advice, and we could definitely see crypto fall even more, specifically Bitcoin. We have seen it in its past drop 40 to 60% on some of these pullbacks, and we haven't even really crossed that 30% threshold yet. So, is it going to keep going down? I don't know, but it is nice to have a little bit of a cheaper price to purchase one of the best performing income ETFs. And there's a reason why these ETFs perform so well and why their output of dividends is so large, because Bitcoin as an asset is extremely volatile. And so with that volatility comes higher premiums and thus the ability to generate more income if you can stomach that volatility. Now, it can also cap you on growth, which we will discuss a little bit in this video, but we're first going to look at all the details of BTCI. Then we're going to jump into the comparison between it and Bitcoin. Now, it hasn't been trading for nearly as long as we've had Bitcoin, but I do want to showcase a chart since inception to see how it's held up, because often these income producing assets far underperform the actual asset that they are based on, which can be detrimental depending on your strategy. But BTCI is a little bit different. Then we're going to look at, of course, that price of Bitcoin. We are also going to check out how BTCI compares to its competitors, because you always want to do a lot of research into all the funds in the space to see not only how the overall space works, but to understand if you are getting the best option. And I'm not saying that BTCI is the best option, but we're going to take a look and see how it compares to the competition, and maybe it'll give us some ideas into other ETFs we can look at. So, BTCI. We have monthly dividends. We have a very high expense ratio of 0.98%. And we've seen this often, unfortunately, in the high income space because it's a lot of work to manage and operate these funds. Now, do I think that's a fair expense ratio? I can't really say. I'm assuming that they're making good money off of it, so I'm not going to try and bash NEOS by any means. The expense ratio is just high for this one. Now, people that used to invest in funds like VU or SCHD that are used to the 0.03 or 0.06% expense ratios are probably flabbergasted by this expense ratio. But in reality, if you're getting a phenomenal above market average return every single year, then I'm okay with paying more in the expense ratio. What I really struggle with is if you have a 1% expense ratio or even 1.4, and that asset is continuing to fall and not produce enough income to really counteract the drop in price, which results in NAV erosion. Now, the distribution rate, 28%, is high right now. Typically, it's around a 25% distribution rate, which is very, very solid and very aggressive. But because it's Bitcoin, because it is that crazy volatile asset, we can make this work. Now, we'll see. We're going to take a look at an article as well. It's going to showcase the strategy behind BTCI on Seeking Alpha, but there's three key factors. It's going to generate or distribute monthly income from writing call options on Bitcoin futures. It's actively managed. That's why that fund is that's why the expense ratio is so high. And it's going to offer upside potential with exposure to Bitcoin ETPs, which more content on ETPs coming soon. And third, the fund implements a data-driven call option strategy, saving investors time and potential expenses of trading options themselves, which, if you're an options trader, if you're a full-time trader, if you're a day trader, maybe it's something that you could do. I am not. I simply am not. I have a 9-to-5 job. People seem to think that I do this all day. I don't. This is a passion and a hobby for me, and I am not complaining by any means, but I do not have time to do what they do for just one of these funds, let alone the 10, 20 of them that I have in my account. So I'm very impressed by NEOS with what they put together, and the net assets for BTCI is massive. It's not to the 1 billion yet, but we are at 8.24 million. 824 million, not 8.24 million. 824 million. So some interesting stuff here. Let's take a look at this article on Seeking Alpha. Stephen, I'm going to butcher it, Fiorillo, hopefully that's good enough, wrote this article. Now remember, it was in July 30th of 2025 of this year, but things have changed kind of drastically since then. So he still talks about buying it, how we're in a pro crypto market, and I don't necessarily disagree, but we could see quite a steep pullback. I also want to mention that these are, I don't even think they're professional writers. I think you can request to write for Seeking Alpha, and he does have 40,000 followers on here. So people seem to like what he talks about. And again, right here, he says, we're in a pro crypto environment. I am bullish, but this was a couple months ago, 5 months ago, actually. So when we scroll down, I want to talk about how the fund is structured. And he does a really good job of breaking it down. The option stuff is harder for me to explain. I don't do it on the daily. And so I like utilizing experts that are honestly just more, it's more of their area of expertise specific to the options for each fund. So he says, Stephen states, the option overlay strategy has two parts, which include utilizing a synthetic strategy to gain exposure to Bitcoin futures ETF and writing call options on the Bitcoin futures ETF to generate reoccurring monthly income. So there you go. There's your main point. You want that monthly income. In order for BTCI to implement its Bitcoin futures ETF option strategy, it will invest in traditional exchange traded options or flexible exchange options, flex options, that utilize the Bitcoin future ETF as a reference asset. The exposure to the Bitcoin futures ETF, I got to say that 10,000 times when reading this article. I hope he copy and pasted and just posted that over and over again. Anyways, the Bitcoin futures ETF is obtained through utilizing the option market instead of owning Bitcoin directly, which will create synthetic exposure to BTC. And we see this synthetic option with tons of different assets. I think it's really, really popular. I think it's probably the most popular strategy when it comes to these income producing assets. Some hold, 20% of the underlying, less than that, but most of it is synthetic, by the way, that they can manipulate it. The combination of puts and calls creates correlation to the BTC in both directions, which is fortunate and unfortunate. So one thing when it comes to these income producing assets is that you are capped on upside. And that can really, really hurt, because if Bitcoin has a day where it goes absolutely nuts and it goes up 10% and you only gain 2%, you're severely underperforming the underlying asset, which I don't like. I like having exposure to its growth. And that's where NEOS really does a good job with this, by utilizing the high yield aspect, but also getting you some growth. And so he does have a whole portion on here of why he's bullish on the NEOS, on BTCI from an income perspective. Talks about the volatility of Bitcoin and how it did generate a lot in distributions and how it has continued to go up in price. But this was, again, all in a very bullish time. He even showcases the distributions, and wow, they are impressive, but things are now falling. It's crazy because Bitcoin is actually in the red on the 1-year chart. We can see it's down 11%, or a little over $11,000, which is a little bit scary. But for those of you that aren't super familiar with crypto or Bitcoin specifically, it tends to go through these 4-year cycles. And it looks like we're kind of ending our 4-year cycle. That's the word in the news anyway. They call it a crypto winter. And we can kind of trace it all the way back to 2018 when it fell. It ran all the way up from what, 1,000, 2,000 per coin to 19,000, and then sold all the way off to 3,600. If I would have just put in my savings at that time, I would have purchased one full Bitcoin. In 2019, that was my savings. I had everything stashed away already. I was earning money while I worked through college. And yeah, I don't want to talk about it. And I'm sure you guys have stories that you don't want to talk about when it comes to investing, because shoulda, woulda, coulda, I missed out on quite the run. But it was still very speculative back then. It's still speculative today for a lot of investors. So then it ran like crazy up to 60,000, and everyone at this time was like, it's going to go to 100,000. It's going to go. And then it sold off pretty heavily, all the way down to 17,000 again, which was kind of the prior high. And I remember looking at the chart and going, wow, it fell through support. Which, for those that don't know the terminology for looking at charts, this high point was its support. It fell below the more recent, the distant high, I should say. And then it ran all the way up to 120,000. This thing is insane. Not without its dips, though. And now we are seeing another dip. So I want to throw this thing into a chart comparison with BTCI, and we'll see exactly how they compare. For our comparison, we're going to be using the Grayscale Bitcoin Mini Trust ETF. It's a pretty cool ETF. I have it for Nat's portfolio for her exposure to Bitcoin, and it has a 0.15% expense ratio and a 0.99% expense ratio for BTCI. So big price difference there and bigger AUM. It's got 4 billion compared to the 800 million. It's popular. Now, scrolling down, we can see we're looking at our price return only. So BTCI is down on the 1 year, 26.04%. BTC is down 8.3%. And it's kind of funny because I don't love to compare income producing ETFs to growth ETFs when you're not factoring in the income, because that's a very important factor. And we'll look at that. But there is a pretty big disparity between these. BTCI has kind of kept up with its price. It did earlier on in the year and then trailed off. Now, with BTC and BTCI and total return, it's a different story. BTCI actually outperforms BTC, which is very, very impressive. It's down 3.81%. It's funny I'm saying it's impressive when it's in the red, but trust me, it is. It's impressive. It's down 3.81% compared to BTC's 8.28%. Although there are points when BTC is nearly outperforming it, BTCI is typically doing a little bit better. At one point, they were both up over 31.5%. Still very, very impressive. So I'm going to talk about my goal when it comes to these income producing assets, but let's throw a couple other income producing ETFs on Bitcoin and see how they look. For a comparison, we have MAXI, BAGY, YBIT, and YBTC. YBTC is the only weekly payer, although I think YBIT now might be a weekly payer as well. And they range in size, but the largest is BTCI by far. When we scroll down, we can see price return wise, BTCI holds up pretty well, and so does BAGY. The rest have kind of trailed off. When we go to our total return, which again is more important in my opinion, we see that BTCI is still our best performer. And that's why I really like this one, is because it's not necessarily always the best performer, but it seems to hold up a lot better when Bitcoin itself is falling. I mean, MAXI for a long time was up there as one of the better performers, and then it has kind of fallen off. YBTC kind of close to the top for the most part, and then falls off pretty hard when Bitcoin starts to fall as well. So it does kind of prove 2 points. YBTC is pretty solid for weekly dividends if you want that Bitcoin exposure. BTCI is a bit of a safer choice and a lower yielder than YBTC. But I'm taking this opportunity. I will be starting a position in BTCI. I'm not sure exactly when, because in my opinion, it's not a professional opinion. It's just a retail investor's opinion. I think we are not anywhere near the end of this Bitcoin crash. But starting a position and watching it and tracking it could be a good opportunity. So people are really worried it's crashing. What's going to happen? We've seen crypto crash all the time. We've seen Bitcoin crash. And I really do like the fact that BTCI is a safer option because it is by NEOS and because it does have that safer track record, that I'm not worried about them completely cutting the ETF altogether, like I do think we will see with a lot of these crypto ETFs when we do see a pretty crazy crash. I mean, if we were to see this continue, we could also see BTCI fall another 30%, which would be devastating and would hurt the sector. We could see some of these other ones fall even more than that. Only time will tell. But I want you guys to know I'm with you. These hurt. It kind of sucks, but we have to use the opportunities that we are given. So I want to know if you guys are buying any crypto assets, whether it be growth on Bitcoin, income on Bitcoin. Let me know in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope to see you in the next video.